While Luminar Neo is a fantastic photo editor, it is not designed as a graphics editing program. So if you've ever been stumped by wondering how you can add a border to your photos, that's what I want to solve for you in this video. We're going to start with an easy option that will give us a result nice and quickly. However, if you want to get the most accuracy from this technique, we're going to have to work through some further steps later in the video. Also, if you'd like to see how to add a more artistic frame, edge or border to your photo, stick around to the end because that's the last technique that I'm going to be covering for you. But for now, let's get into it. So we're going to create a border effect that looks something like what we see on the screen at the moment. The first thing we need to do is create our background, and we're going to do that by just opening up a photo. It honestly doesn't matter which photo you open, just anything will do. So double click and then come into the edit section. And we're going to turn this photo into our plain white background. So how are we going to do that? Well, we want to brighten it up. And the easiest way to brighten something up is grabbing the exposure and boosting that up. Okay, we're making good progress. So you might think, okay, let's just start brightening everything up. Grabbing the highlights, boost those. Grab the shadows, boost those. Okay, we've still got a lot of dark pixels. So maybe we'll grab the blacks and boost those up. I mean, yes, we could get the result we're after by following this approach. However, it's not the most effective way. So I'm just going to reset that and show you a better method. All we need to do is open up the curves tool, and you see we have different channels available to us. Just stick with the default option here, which allows us to control the brightness in the photo. And so you might be familiar with brightening things up by putting a point on there and then just pushing that higher to brighten it up. Well, what we're going to do is rather than adding a point, we're just going to grab the bottom left-hand point that represents the darkest pixels. And if we start bringing that up, that's just going to brighten any pixels that are dark, and it's going to bring along all the other pixels with it as well. So by the time we've lifted that to the very top of the curve graph here, we've pushed everything to pure white. Just to double check that we have hit pure white, we can press J on the keyboard. That gives us a highlight warning. Whenever pixels hit pure white, we get a red warning. And as you can see, as I push that line up on the curve, we go to pure white. So we're in a good place. I'll press J again to get rid of that. And now we just need to save this as a new image. So I'm going to right click and come to export. And I'm going to describe the border as white 3:2 ratio. And we can save it as a JPEG. We could save it as a PNG. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to save a JPEG, 100% quality, hit export. And now if I come into the catalog view, I'm just going to reset that photo. So I'm going to right click on it, come to the adjustments and revert that to the original. I'm also going to do that with this photo here as well. And now if I come into the borders section, you'll see that we have that JPEG that we just saved, which is pure white. So for our rough and ready version, all we'd need to do is just open that up, come into the edit section, go to the layers, and then we can just load any photo that we want to, double click it. That goes into the layers palette, and now if we select that by clicking on the thumbnail, it's going to load as standard with a 50% opacity over the top of what's below it, which in our case is that white background. And so we just grab the opacity, push that all the way to 100, and now we have our photo, which is scalable. By grabbing this corner here, we can actually shrink it down or increase its size. So we're just going to shrink it down to a size we feel is appropriate. And now we're just going to grab and reposition the photo in the center of the frame. And if I click on the layer properties box here, we get rid of that surrounding border. And this is now our version of that photo. So if this is what we want with that border, we just right click, come to export, and we can export that as a new file. So I would choose JPEG if I was putting this onto the internet, and then we can come in and choose our dimensions and resize that based on the platform we're sending it to. So for example, if I was putting it on Facebook, I might choose something like 2000 pixels, hit export. And now if I come to the catalog, you'll see that I have this new version ready for upload. If I come to the edits, it doesn't have separate layers, as you'll see over on the left-hand side. This is just one solid image, which consists of my photo and the border. But that's a quick down and dirty method, and it unfortunately suffers from a couple of issues. And the main one is we don't actually have any specific controls for making sure that that is in the dead center of our frame. So we're going to have to force Luminar's hand by actually coming up with a method that will allow us to consistently position the photo within the border where we want it. Now, please bear with me because this is a bit of a workaround. So to set it up, there's a little bit of work involved, but once you've done that, you can call on these assets that we're going to create to basically guarantee that each time you use this technique, you can make sure your photo is in the center of the border. Okay, let's suppose that your website needs photos that are 1500 pixels wide exactly, and that's going to be the same every single time. Well, let's set this up so it's much more easy to achieve that result. So we'll come into the develop section again. I'm going to boost up the curves so we have our white panel. I'm going to come to export, and I'm going to choose 1500 for the long edge. Choose an appropriate name and hit export. I'll just make sure I reset that, revert it to the original. I'm going to come into the borders section again and open up that new white border. Now I'm going to add a new layer over the top of this. It does not matter what it is. I'm just going to use this photo here. I'm going to push the opacity to 100. And my idea here is to make a nice thin representation of this photo that is going to basically look like a line. I'm then going to rotate that. I'm going to expand the length, and now all I'm going to do is rotate the line by holding my mouse outside of the line, clicking and rotating, and I want the photo, which now looks just like a line, to run through the bottom left and the top right. Now I've done that, I'm going to duplicate that layer, and I'm going to do the same thing but rotate it the other way. And if you remember your geometry classes from school, if we create an X running through the corners, and that is key, make sure it does run directly through the corners, and it might take just a little bit of tweaking and moving and then re-rotating until you're happy with that. But once you are, we now know that any photo that we place into this grid, so this one here, for example, if I push the opacity to 100 and I reduce the size. Now, if I move this, as long as I make sure that the corners touch the lines that we just created, we know that this is going to be centered in the white panel and therefore sit centrally in our border. So now you get the concept. I'm just going to hide that photo, and what we're going to do is export this. So this is going to be a guide template for us. So I click off of the layer properties so nothing is selected, and now I'm able to right click or option click on a Mac, come to export. I'm going to call it template guide, hit export, and now we're free to use that as a guide. So I'll just reset these so we have our original white panels. I'm going to open up the white border, come to edit, and we just need to select the photo we want to work with. So we've loaded that in as a layer, but now we're also going to load in our guide. So I'll double click that, and now that's in my layers library. That will be there for me to use at any point. And I'll just drag it underneath our photo that we want to work with, push the opacity of the photo to 100. And now I'm going to drag from that top corner. And that's important because if you just grab the top or the side, you're going to ruin the ratio of the photo. And that's not what we want to do. Whereas if we actually grab the corner, that ratio, in this case 3:2, is going to remain consistent. I can scale the photo to the size that I want. And now I just need to move it so that those diagonal guides we set up run through each of the corners, which looks pretty good to me. And now all we need to do is click on that layer, right click, and we're just going to hide the layer. Now when we come to export, the default size is going to be 1500. Because it's for the web, we don't need to have as high quality, maybe around 70. We'd save it to the correct folder, call it an appropriate name, and we just hit export. And it's not just horizontal landscape format photos that this works for. We can obviously use the same technique with a different orientation for vertical photos. So we can do that for portraits. You could also use it for Instagram squares, for example. Just set the size to the appropriate pixel dimensions and you'll be good to go. If you only have access to Luminar Neo, this is pretty much the only approach you can take at the moment. But if you are lucky enough to also have Photoshop, then you can create yourself a PNG with transparency and use that as your border. So if that's you, I'll quickly show you how that can work as well before we get on to applying more artistic borders through Luminar Neo only. Okay. This method does give us a little bit more flexibility, but unfortunately, like I say, you do need Photoshop, but it's done through the same way, which is using layers. I've preloaded this in as a layer, and it's a PNG file, which basically allows us to save transparency into the file itself. So if I push the opacity to 100%, you'll see that that does not affect in any way that center part of the frame. And that is because that was saved as a transparent mask in Photoshop. And I'm not sure how well this will come up after compression on a YouTube video, but there is actually a paper texture onto this as if it is a proper photo matte as well. And then we can just use the fill option to make sure that that scales to the size of our photo. Currently we're losing some of that photo information underneath the matte, but if we want to, again, we can actually select that layer itself that represents the photo, and we can actually bring the size of that down so that it better fits inside that matte window. And I just did what I told you not to do before, which was grab either the top or side and scale it that way. Always make sure you drag him from the corner to maintain that aspect ratio. All right, what about dirty edges, more artistic edges? Well, let's start again. I think I want to turn this black and white for this so we can make it look more like it's a, I don't know, art piece or pencil sketch, something like that. So I'll just convert it to black and white. Might just drop the structure back a little bit, and maybe just give it a pop of contrast, but lift those blacks up so it's a bit more faded. Okay, let's add more of a distressed border. And the way to do that is with a textured border. So basically we're going to create a layer that we're putting over the top, and we're going to change the blend mode so that it interacts with our photo differently. So this one's nice and clear to see. So let's go with this. If I load this up with the opacity set to 100, you can clearly see that we have a black and white photo. Well, we can get that white to disappear into transparency if we change the blend mode. All we need to do is go to multiply, and what that's going to do is basically say any of the white pixels, just don't show them up. And that allows us to put that darker border around the edge. But what if we wanted to actually brighten the edge up? For example, if we wanted that to look like paper in the background, and then that we've had the picture drawn over the top, this would all be white. So to change it from black to white is really easy. First of all, I'm going to switch the blend mode to screen, and that's doing the opposite of what multiply did. That is showing us the white pixels and letting us see through the black pixels to the image underneath. So we just need to invert what's going on with this particular layer. In fact, I'm going to change it to normal just so that we can see this change in effect. We're going to open up the develop module. And just like we did before, where we lifted up this bottom point to make all of the pixels go white, what we can do is then grab the opposite corner and just bring this point down. And that's going to make any pixels that were white go black. So by switching the orientation of this line from a 45-degree going up, we change it to a 45-degree going down, and that has inverted our image. Is a really cool, quick technique for flipping your images into an inversion. So now all we need to do is come back to that layer properties, change this into screen rather than multiply, and now you can see we have a white border. So it's almost like a piece of paper that's had an image printed over the top. And if we want to, we can double down on the effect by using different textures. We've got this one here that looks more like scratched edges. And again, I'm just going to change that to screen mode, and I'm going to flip that round by coming into the curves, grab the bottom point, lift it up, and grab the top point and bring it down. And now we have that scratched effect around the edges as well. If you feel like the effect is too much, we can just grab the opacity and bring that back down. So there you go. We've gone from a more photographic look to a more kind of sketch-like quality with that distressed border around the edge. You can literally paint, create, and photograph your own borders like this, and then use them in the same way that I have here. But if you like a shortcut and you want access to my textures, my entire library that includes all of these vignettes and distressed edges, plus all of those textures that I've shown in many videos before, I've currently got a discount code which is only available to you guys, my YouTube members. It's going to save you 80% off the entire bundle, and the code is border80. So please help yourself to that. If you want to get hold of it, I'll put a link to those textures in the description below. As well as adding borders to our photos, people often ask me how to add signatures, logos, and watermarks. I've covered that in a video before, and if you want to check that out, that video is right there. Well worth a watch. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the next video.